Why do we cry to express feeling overwhelmed? Emotional tears are initially triggered from an area of our brain that's responsible for emotional arousal, known as the limbic system. This part of the brain communicates to another messaging area, called the pons, which then signals the glands to produce tears. To begin with, emotionally crying appears to be uniquely human behavior. Animals shed tears as part of normal ocular functioning, and there have been anecdotal reports of animals shedding the occasional emotional tear, but for the most part, only humans routinely cry out of sadness and other complex emotions. Interestingly, humans cry in the context of certain stereotypical emotions as well as their apparent opposite, or counterpart. For example, we might cry out of grief at a funeral for the death of a loved one, but also with elation at the birth of a newborn child. We're likely to cry from heartache when a romantic relationship comes to an end, but we're just as likely to cry at a wedding as we witness the forging of a new bond. The emotions we experience at these moments are difficult to put into words and often go beyond happy or sad. Perhaps crying helps us to communicate what we're feeling in a way that language cannot. It has been suggested that the aspects of crying might in particular account for its uniqueness to human beings by virtue of its evolution within a range of social behaviors that have made us successful as a species. According to this view, crying is primarily a form of nonverbal social communication aimed at eliciting assistance, comfort and social support from others. Research to date has shown that when people see others crying, they clearly recognize it as a reliable signal of sadness or distress, in a way that's more convincing than words, and that typically results in feelings of connectedness and responses of sympathy and a willingness to help from others. Turning to the non-social functions of crying, researchers have modeled crying as a fundamentally self-soothing behavior. In other words, we cry in the setting of sadness and other negative emotions, because it helps us feel better. Interestingly, emotional tears are chemically distinct from basal, the natural lubrication that protects your eyes from dirt and debris, and reflexive tears, tears sparked by external stimuli, like onion smells or smoke. They include higher levels of leucine enkephalin, an endorphin that functions as a natural pain reliever, improving mood and mitigating stress. Meanwhile, shedding tears may also release oxytocin, a feel-good hormone. It's possible that the chemistry of crying does actually make people feel a little better. Do we cry more as we age? It's possible that hormonal changes, such as changes in testosterone associated with aging, might lead to aging men being more emotional. Age could also lead some men to simply care less about social norms around this type of emotional expression. Thank you for watching the video. We do hope you enjoyed and learned something. If you found value in this content, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Have a great day, and see you in the next one.